Welcome back to the Success Publishing Videocast. My name is Jessica Soto, and I am here with one of our lovely co-authors today, Kimberly O'Neill. We want to welcome you. We just love interviewing our authors and shining a light on their work and their amazing stories. So if you could give just a little cliff notes on who you are and where you are in the world real quick.
Yeah, so my name is Kimberly O'Neill. I go by Kimmy, so you might see a lot of people call me Kimmy. And I am in upstate New York, actually very, very northern New York. I'm almost in Canada. I'm so far north, so nowhere near the city. And I'm a mom. I have two kids, 13 and 5, 3, my stepson, who will be 24. Let me see. I am an international personal development trainer, leadership development trainer, which is a ton of fun. I homeschool my kids, which has been interesting since 2020. And most recently, I'm a best-selling author, which is amazing.
I love it. And so you are recently a best-selling author. Do you have that book to show off?
I do. Here it is.
Yes,
Breakthrough
love
Leadership. It was so much fun.
Amazing. What did it feel like to get that in the mail in your hands finally?
I got goosebumps just when you asked me that. Very surreal. I think we all have a story, and I've always dreamed about writing a book, but I never really thought it would happen. And then I had an amazing opportunity come up to kind of partner with some other authors, as you know, and I took advantage of it. And the whole process was a huge learning experience, and definitely pushed me outside of my comfort zone. So it was just amazing. I feel really proud. My kids are very proud, which is really nice. So it's really cool.
That's awesome. You said you have a 13-year-old, correct?
Yes.
Have they read it?
She got to read it as I was writing it. Yes. And she's a little writer herself. So she's been writing fiction, actually, and I'm really proud of her.
Awesome. We actually have several co-authors whose kids are like, oh, I want to be an author now. That's
absolutely
awesome. And start doing something.
That's the best part, right? We lead by example, and we expand. We call it like the mind map, right? We can only see what we believe exists. And once you expand beyond that, then you realize so many more things are possible. Yeah. So I feel like I'm doing that for my kids, and they do it for me every day. So I'm returning the favor, really.
Love that. So let's dive into your story just a little bit more, a little bit more background on who you are and what brought you to becoming an author.
Okay. So if we go back, I talk about it a little bit in my book, just how I was the, forever overachiever in everything from school to college to the military. I was in the military for 10 years. And I was always that person that pushed to not necessarily be better than anybody else, but always wanting to be my best. And I never felt like it was good enough, no matter what. And nobody did that to me. And I think a lot of us do that. I think a lot of us have that voice in our head that tells us that we're not good enough, or we have to do more, whatever we have done needs to be better. And that's kind of what got my story going. So I did 10 years in the military. And when I got out, I started working with veterans, helping them find jobs, helping people tap into what they actually want to do. Because when you get out of the military, you can go anywhere. Mm-hmm. And sometimes those choices can be too much for people. And a lot of times we find ourselves falling into I should do this because I have this background, or I should do this because that's what I think other people expect of me. And when I started writing the book and the story about Break the Mold, it's really about tapping into what is it that we really want? How do we even know how to find that? How do we even recognize that voice with all the chatter that we have going on around us? So really giving people permission to first accept that maybe they want things in their life that other people don't understand, and that's okay. And I want to help them understand how to honor that and move forward with it and be brave and embrace that.
I love that. That's amazing. So without giving everything away, can you tell us just a little bit of the struggle that you went through and how that brought you to where you are now?
The struggle that I think kicked it off really was struggle with fertility, and realizing that was a piece of me that I had zero control over. And when I finally was fortunate enough to conceive my daughter and then my son, I started to realize that I wanted to be a better person, a better parent. I started hearing myself say some things sometimes like, well, I can't say that to a little kid, or why am I feeling this way toward a little kid, And I wanted to be better. I wanted to understand what my triggers were. I wanted to understand why things would tip me off, because as an adult, I realized I can't expect a little child to adjust their behavior to appease me. So the issue is with me. And that's what led me to go to life coaching school. And I got my certification through the International Coaching Federation for life coaching. And then I got certified in neuro-linguistic programming. And then I started doing leadership development training. And I am obsessed with consuming everything personal development, and learning about the brain, learning about how we think and how we process and how patterns are formed and all of that. And as the more I learned, the more I wanted to share it, the more I wanted to shed that light for other people to realize what's actually going on. So that's how I ended up here as an author, as a coach. It was really about wanting to be a better person and a better parent. So I have my kids to thank for that. And then everything that I've learned along the way is just something that I want to pay forward.
That's awesome. And I mean, I love from the moment that you started with us, following your journey of you as a parent, because you are a super cool parent and I love watching
it. Thank you. Thank you.
So with all of that, what is it that you hope readers will get out of your story? Because not everyone's going to connect exactly, but what do you hope they come away with?
And I think even if they don't connect with my story, they're going to connect with somebody's in the book. But what I hope they connect with is that feeling, recognizing it when we're not really on our true path, when we're not being authentic to ourselves, because we are living in the land of shoulds and have tos and needs to and must. And it's okay to take a step back and realize and try to figure out, what is it that I actually want? What is it that actually brings me joy? What is it that I actually feel my true purpose is? And recognizing that it might not be anything that anybody else will understand, and they don't have to, because it's your life and you have to understand it. And taking the time to figure out what you want and to just really sit with yourself and remove the judgment. That's the other thing. We judge ourselves so harshly. But if people can take time to remove the judgment for the thoughts and the feelings that they're having, and to step back and look at it with more of a curiosity, like, I wonder where this is coming from. What is this trying to tell me? What is my opportunity here? What am I supposed to learn? And then moving forward that way, that's what I hope they take from it, is to lighten up, cut yourself some slack, stop judging yourself, just be curious and enjoy the process.
I love that. I love your message.
Oh, thank you.
And so with everything that you've done, I mean, the military, life coaching, momming, everything that you've done and continue to do, why was now the time to step into this, figure of becoming an author?
Well, I think I manifested it. I've been saying it and writing it in my goals. And I think when we put, the things that we want out there, when we write it down, when we say it out loud, then our brain starts to pick up on the opportunities that are out there. And I crossed paths with the right people, and I came across the right opportunity. And I definitely was the person that said, okay, I'm going to do it. And then the next day I was like, okay, how can I get out of this? How can I get out of this? Because
you're not alone. I think that's a very common theme.
I know. And I laughed at myself for that. I didn't judge myself for it. And I'll be honest with you, Jessica, I did it today with our interview. I was like, I don't know if I want to do our interview, because I get nervous when the spotlight's on me. But I think when I recognize that, and even sharing my story, when I can realize that me sharing my story, you sharing your story, anybody sharing their story, it's not about me sharing my story. It's about how my story might resonate for somebody else, and how that might be an aha moment for somebody, or tip the scales in some way for somebody else to get them moving in a direction that's more, that serves them better in their life. So when I recognize that it's me sharing is not about me, it's got a bigger purpose. And that is what I guess basically gave me the courage to step out and do it in the face of fear. And I published my book. My book was published 4 months before I launched it, because I was terrified to share it, and I want people to recognize that that's okay, right? We all try to have it together, but we're all human and we have our fears. But the point is not to let fear stop us. right?
Mhm.
It may have taken me 4 months, but it's out there now and we're doing it and it's good and I'm happy. The point is to not get stuck because we're afraid
Yeah.
to step into the unknown.
Yeah, that brings up a good point because I've gotten very good at the doing things scared, but I like the added layer of thinking it's not about me though, and what
Yes.
is going to come from it. And I think that's really helpful for people too.
As a trainer with what I do, that's people have asked me, how do you get up and talk in front of people? Because sometimes when I'm training, I've got 6, 7, 800 people on. Sometimes I've got 10. I never know. And that's it. When it comes to public speaking or anything like that, I have to tell myself before I go out there, this is not about you. It's about the information and the message that you have that somebody else needs. So you go out and you deliver that message the best you can. And where it's supposed to land, it's going to land. And then it takes the pressure off of me because I feel like I'm going out with a gift instead of going out feeling like I'm going to be judged and picked apart. And maybe I am, but at that point, I don't care because it's not about me.
I love it. That's a great message to give to all of our new co-authors too. When they get, just like you did, get scared right after they say yes, it's not about you. It's about at least one person who's going to read the book.
And fear, when fear stops us, it's just our mind's way of protecting us from something that we're afraid is going to happen. And it probably stems from something that happened in the past, some kind of rejection, some kind of not being accepted. And so not putting ourselves out there is a defense mechanism and it's there to protect us. And so what I've learned to do is just acknowledge, say, hey, you know what? I appreciate that defense mechanism is there, but I don't need that protection anymore. Let's go forward with it anyway.
I love it. And so what was the best or like the biggest surprise out of this experience? Because you do a lot, obviously, and you speak in front of lots of people. But what
it was doing the launch, actually. Just the number of people that have reached out and that went out of their way to support me, because it's hard to explain. You can ask people to give you a like or do something, but when they have to go out of their way to actually place an order, follow your journey for a few days, reach out, send you messages, it was really humbling to get the kind of support that I got. And I know people are amazing. Like, I love people. I always give them the benefit of the doubt. But it was just a really humbling experience to have that, and just the amount of encouragement and support. And, so many people saying that they were proud of me and that they hope to do the same. And I just want to help them do the same, whatever people want to do. And I want to be able to return the favor and add value back. So that's what I'm looking at doing right now. What can I do to add some value back to the people that supported me and got my books? I actually did come up with an idea. I'm going to run a little training for them that normally I would charge for, but I'm going to do a training for them and do a little, I think I'm going to do a little advanced journaling. Some things that I've learned over time that really help us keep our day in line and, get some time back in the week, figure out where we're losing time, because time is our most precious resource. So if I can help people recoup some of that, I think that's pretty valuable.
That's awesome. I love it.
Yeah, thank you.
And so what comes next for you now that you're doing the launch and you're an author, and what are the next things for you?
So what comes next is I am working on building out my coaching business right now. And it's going well. What I'm just discovering is I'm the person who delivers the service. It's all the behind the scenes stuff that I tend to struggle with. So it's really finding my team and finding what I need to get all that behind the scenes stuff done. I'm also working with a very large sourcing agency that they source trainers all over the world. So I've been doing some international trainings, which have been a lot of fun. So definitely some doors have opened just since I became an author. And I really appreciate that. And what I would also like to do is bring it back more locally to my area. I live in a very small town in northern New York, and I've seen businesses struggle like all over everywhere, right, since 2020. And I want to take the skills that I have and go into some of the smaller businesses and see where I can offer some assistance to maybe help things run a little smoother, to help the morale, to help people with their own personal development. So I want to take what I do more locally. I will continue to do it on an international basis because I love that. It's a lot of fun. It's really exciting. I get to meet people all over the world, but I also want to be able to give back to my more immediate community too.
That's awesome. I love it. Well, I can't wait to continue to follow your journey and see where everything goes. Thank you for joining me today. It was
Thank you.
great getting to chat with you live. I know we're always going back and forth with emails, but I love chatting.
Yes, I know. It's so good to see your face.
Yes.
It's always good to put a voice and a face to the little picture on the email.
Exactly.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much. I
real
really
life
appreciate
person.
you taking the time and all
Oh.
your support through this whole process. I mean, you've been amazing. The whole team was amazing. I am forever grateful. My gratitude just pours out to you right now. So thank you so much.
Thank you. And again, you can find Kimberly on Amazon.com, Breakthrough Leadership with Kimberly O'Neill, and continue to follow her journey.